The iPhone 11 videos, AirPods 3 on the horizon, and iPhone sales keep dipping while Apple's underdog products keep climbing. Welcome to this week's episode of the Apple Core, where I'll get you caught up on all the latest Apple news and rumors. The next iPhone is still months away from making its big debut, and we're already being flooded by videos on YouTube of some pretty realistic renders of what these phones might actually look like. The latest one, and probably the most convincing one in my eyes, comes from Concept's iPhones. It shows the 11 and the 11 Max in black and silver with that 3-camera array on the back, which now includes a super wide-angle lens. But otherwise, a pretty familiar design. Now, the video hones in on the camera bump, which looks slightly less raised than in previous models. That's because it's rumored to be made out of the same sheet of glass as the rest of the phone. Also pictured, that rumored dark mode, which is coming with iOS 13. Now, this next video from Kashkaro and OnLinks shows almost the exact same thing, except for a slight difference if you notice closely in the mute switch on the side, which looks more rounded in its design and slides up and down instead of side to side. And lastly, this one from Mako Takara, which shows a 3D printed render of the 11 and 11 Max alongside the current models for comparison. Now, they all seem to have settled on the same general design and camera layout, and they coincide with the fact that the notch doesn't seem to have gotten that much smaller. To me, the more exciting rumor this week is that the 11 might be the iPhone to bring back Touch ID. A recent patent shows that the company is testing out an in-screen fingerprint scanner similar to what Samsung did on the S10 earlier this year. But then it gets a little weird because apparently it can also map your ear, which I guess would mean it's easier to unlock when you answer a call, but still, I don't know if I can get used to that. Since replacing Touch ID for Face ID on the newer models, it was thought that that was the last we would ever see of Touch ID. However, Touch ID 2.0 would be a different story. Now, the other rumor that seems to be gaining traction has to do with the fast charger in the box, a USB-C to Lightning, according to a recent Mako Takara report. But then again, we've heard this one before. We heard it at the same time last year about the XS and the XS Max, and we were sorely disappointed when we opened the box, so don't go getting your hopes up. The trend here is that all these new features already exist on other Android devices. In fact, in some cases, they have for a while. So while they may be welcome additions to the iPhone, it's not shaping up to be the most exciting upgrade cycle in Apple's history. Now, these upgrades would probably not be enough to reinvigorate iPhone sales, which seems to be what Apple needs right about now. Apple's latest earnings report out this week showed that iPhone sales have continued to drop from last year. Although this time around, unlike last quarter, not quite as bad as predicted. iPhone revenue for the second fiscal quarter fell 17% to $31.1 billion, which is still a lot of money. Although we don't know exactly how many units this translates to because Apple stopped disclosing this number as of November of last year. That said, Apple doesn't seem to be hurting too much. iPad sales jumped 22%, while their wearables, home, and accessories business revenue, aka AirPods and Apple Watch, jumped 30% to $5.1 billion, while their services revenue reached a new all-time high of $11.5 billion, up 16%. Now, both of these numbers still don't come close to the $31 billion in revenue from the iPhone sales, but it's an area with a lot of potential, and Apple knows this, which is why they're investing heavily in new services like Apple TV+, News+, and the new game subscription service out later this year, along with new AirPods and Apple Watches. This week we learned the official release date of the new Powerbeats Pro, Apple's sportier, more expensive take on the AirPods, which are set to go on pre-sale on May 3rd and then arrive at your doorstep on May 10th. And speaking of those AirPods, we might be getting a refresh sooner than at least I expected. The two latest reports come from pretty reputable sources in this realm. The first one, in Digitime, suggests that production for the AirPods 3 would start as early as the end of this year or early next year. They would come with a full refresh and true noise cancellation. This rumor was later backed up by longtime Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, as published in Mac Rumors, except his report suggests we may actually get two versions of the new AirPods, one with a similar design as the current ones and another one with a totally new look and higher price tag to match. Now, no word on whether these would include those rumored biometric sensors or waterproofing, which we'd been hearing about even before the launch of the most recent second gens in March. So that does it for our show today, but as always, you can stay up to date with the latest Apple news and rumors 24/7 on CNET.com and subscribe to our channel for more Apple Core. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.